Avery County Schools Spotlight on Education is brought to you by John and Hank Phillips of Avery County Tire and Service in Newland, your tire and car service specialists.
Michelin makes some of the most fuel-efficient tires on the road, so you can take the pump down. Find out how much you can save at MichelinMan.com. Michelin, a better way forward.
Avery Tire and Service has served Newland, Avery County, and the entire High Country for the last 50 years. Family owned and operated, John and Hank Phillips have put together an outstanding team of skilled personnel who can supply and fill all of your automotive and truck needs. Located in the center of Newland, Avery Tire and Service is your local supplier for Michelin tires, as well as the supplier for all the top brands for every part of your vehicle. From tires to brakes, from oil changes to any kind of car or truck service, Avery Tire and Service can do it all, and always at the very highest level of friendliness and quality. If a business has been around for 50 years, then they obviously must be the best at what they do. Avery Tire and Service in Newland, still proudly serving you and all of the High Country.
Welcome to another edition of the Superintendent Spotlight on Education in Avery County. And with me today is our brain trust of the Transportation Department, Brian King, our Transportation Director, and Linda King, no relation. This is not brother, sister, husband, and wife, no relation. And Linda kind of does all the clerk work, the Tim's work, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But welcome. We're glad you're with us. Brian, this is a good time for you to be here because we've been together a lot the last few weeks, especially with snow and slick roads and cold temperatures. Talk to us just a little bit about how your morning starts when we're getting the forecast for snow.
It starts early. I'm up on the morning forecasting snow 3:30, and I'm usually out on the roads at 15 minutes to 4, and I leave the house and go straight into checking roads or looking at the forecast, seeing when the snow's going to get there. It just, it's a never-ending process this time of year. I mean, it just goes on days and days and days. And then, like of the evenings, you still have to go out and look at the roads to see what you're going to be able to run the next morning. So it's a real task, to get these roads checked and make sure they're safe.
And Linda, when we're doing all of this, what are some of the things that you have to do to help us get the word out?
Well, I'm helping to call all the radio stations and TV stations. We do a lot of that online, and I help do that. And just trying to make sure everybody knows, all the sub bus drivers and things.
A lot of people to communicate with, and we try to hit just about every media outlet, and we use a phone calling tree, we use email. There's a lot of ways we try to get the word out, but still sometimes it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's hard to get the word out. We even use Avery Communications. Everybody's got police scanners. We put it on that, but we use several ways, but it's still sometimes you get calls, they didn't hear it.
Brian, you talk about Avery Communication, and we're out looking and checking. Who are some of our other sources of information that we try to contact to see what they're seeing out on the road?
Well, usually the night before I'll contact the DOT, the Avery County DOT, and see if they've got a night shift on. If they got a night shift on, then I'll talk to the night shift supervisor when I come on to see if they've seen anything, where the problem spots is. And then we're on the phone with Avery Communications. They have road deputies out during the night that can tell us, where the problem spot is and what to look out for. And then we'll usually go check that area. We got caught one time on Hickory Nut Gap. A deputy said, well, it's slick up there. Sure enough, it's black ice. So, that is a call worth making right there to them. And we call Beach Mountain Police Department. They're always good letting us know what it's like up there. The higher elevation, they usually get a little worse. But, that's just some of them that we utilize.
And Linda, you help us check temperatures a little bit. But talk to us about how different temperatures can be around Avery County. Most people, I know my kids, they live down in the Raleigh area, and they are amazed at how different the snow levels are in Avery County and difference in temperatures. They think mountains, well, it's all cold. But talk to us a little bit about how we see those temperatures fluctuate.
Well, just like this morning, we had problems where down in the valley, it was actually lower down in the lower areas than it was up on the mountains. There was probably 20 degrees difference.
Well, there was more than 20.
On
And
some of
I
them.
saw this with my own eyes this morning, and I
Yeah.
mentioned it to Brian. Where I live, it was 13 degrees. And when I got to the top of Spanish Oak, which is the highest elevation I travel coming in the morning, is 35. I mean, 13 to 35 within 6 miles. And then Grandfather Mountain was 39 this morning. So that really plays into our decision about school. And Brian, it seems that every morning that's forecasted for snow to roll in around 6 o'clock. Why does that create such a problem for us?
Because we're just right there. We've got buses that roll out at 5:30. That's when that's when it rolls out. That ain't when we're picking kids up, but they're headed to their destination. So we really need to make a decision. If we're going to do something in school, it needs to be out no later than 5. We always shoot, quarter till 5. But and then you've got this forecast coming in, so there we are. It ain't getting here to 6, but we need to make a decision at 5. So that's why it's aggravating. And then, they've been a couple mornings we've went ahead and went on a 2-hour delay just to see, if it's going to come. And we also, going back to the contacts, we do contact, Tri-Cities, and that will let us know if it's doing anything coming in our direction.
Yeah, we try to rely on as many sources as we can, and Linda, what we've noticed, sometimes the forecasts have not been as accurate as we would like, but I mean, the mountains make it tough to forecast snow and stuff.
They do. It's a challenge here in Avery County, but it's one we enjoy.
But now you see some of the different snow totals as you come in. Talk to us a little bit about the difference we might have, say, in Elk Park and Newland and Banner Elk, and then we go down into the Ingalls area, how different that is.
Right. Well, just what I've noticed the last few weeks, when I've been coming in from Tennessee, and in Elk Park, it's been awful. I mean, it's just been, the roads have been bad, the side roads are bad and everything. And as you come on in, we've had a little less, snow coming in, but I think all of our calls have been spot on.
Well, we know that they've been good because we've not gotten anyone hurt, and that's our goal, isn't it, Brian?
That's the main thing, is safety.
Brian, people ask, well, why did you not have school today? It looked like where I live, the roads were fine, but talk to us a little bit about why it might be good in Ingalls, or in this time, the Ingalls area, Roaring Creek, that area was really worse than the other areas. But talk to us a little bit about why it's not so easy to make that call.
Right. I mean, you have usually down toward Ingalls and that area right there, they usually don't get hit bad. Right. And where we've had a lot of trouble this year is our gravel roads, which, gravel roads around here, we've had the low temperatures, and once snow and ice gets on there, it won't leave.
Right.
But down in Ingalls, you didn't have the snow and ice, so when we put out no gravel roads, there's probably a road in Ingalls that we could run, but, the rest of them, the majority of them up the other way, is snow covered. So there's where we receive calls, well, it ain't doing nothing here, but, it just ain't that part of the county. You've got to look at Banner Elk and that way, and that's where we've seen a lot of the stuff this year is over toward Banner Elk. And, Riverside, they don't see nothing, but still it's pretty bad roads in Banner Elk.
The low temperatures have made it rough too, haven't they?
Yes, it has. It's been rough, and and I know we don't want no student waiting on no bus in sub-zero temperatures.
And Brian, talk to us a little bit about how hard it is for our buses to start running when these temperatures are down below zero.
Yeah, we run, all of our buses is diesel, and the diesels, they're a little hard to get started when it gets cold, and the freeze point of the diesel fuel, it starts gelling a whole lot sooner than gasoline will. But when you start getting down in single digits, you're really straining a diesel engine to start. So, that's one thing we monitor about, when we're making a call. Well, if we're going to get the buses to run, when you start getting low temperatures and that, that's another thing to take in consideration. If you do get it running and say it's 8 degrees and then you got a bus going 45 mile an hour down the road, well, you're getting that 45 mile an hour wind chill factor on that engine. So that's another thing to take in factor, is the temperature.
And we really don't want children out on a bus and stranded. in that kind of temperature or out waiting on buses. So there's a lot goes into these decisions, and it's not something we just flip a coin and say this is what we're going to do. Spend a lot of time with it. Yeah. Now, Linda, Brian mentioned our buses and the fuel and all of that. Talk to us a little bit about your role in ordering and kind of the fuel we use and all the particulars about making sure we got everything there that we need for the buses.
Well, we're using about a load of diesel fuel a month right now, and that covers all our buses, our activity buses, and everything. And we just keep everything going. I mean, Brian orders the parts and they work on them, and we keep everything maintained. We have 30-day maintenance plans on each bus, and we go through every safety thing we can possible to keep the buses running and safe.
And part of your job is to make sure all that stuff's inventoried.
Right.
You check on it and make sure if something has been used, you order replacements.
Right,
and
right.
Keep these guys straight.
That's right.
Make sure they do the preventive maintenance.
That's
not
right.
You get on them.
That's right.
That's good.
And a lot of our funding is based on our paperwork. So the more accurate our paperwork is, the more money we get. So it ends up helping us in the long run.
And Brian, I would say over the last many years, our paperwork is the most accurate now that it's probably ever been. Mm-hmm. And Linda, we appreciate that.
Thank you.
You have helped us. Brian, in closing, if someone says, Brian, why in the world did you not have school today? We had it today, thankfully. This is the 31st, but yesterday. We tried to go on a 3-hour delay. We just couldn't do it. And they said, why did you not have school? What would you say?
Well, Mr. B, the way I look at it, it's a whole lot easier to make up a day of school than it is to make up a fatality. That's the way I look at it, and that's the way we sort of make our decision, you know. Would I want my kid out on a bus on this slick road?
And that's our rule of thumb, and with that said, that was well stated. We wish you the very best, and Brian, thank you for being with us, and appreciate the job you do. And Linda, thank you. Appreciate your hard work.
Okay.
Avery County Schools Spotlight on Education is brought to you by John and Hank Phillips of Avery County Tire and Service in Newland, your tire and car service specialists.
Michelin makes some of the most fuel-efficient tires on the road, so you can take the pump down. Find out how much you can save at michelinman.com. Michelin, a better way forward.
Avery Tire and Service has served Newland, Avery County, and the entire High Country for the last 50 years. Family owned and operated, John and Hank Phillips have put together an outstanding team of skilled personnel who can supply and fill all of your automotive and truck needs. Located in the center of Newland, Avery Tire and Service is your local supplier for Michelin tires, as well as the supplier for all the top brands for every part of your vehicle. From tires to brakes, from oil changes to any kind of car or truck service, Avery Tire and Service can do it all, and always at the very highest level of friendliness and quality. If a business has been around for 50 years, then they obviously must be the best at what they do. Avery Tire and Service in Newland, still proudly serving you and all of the High Country.